Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to hike to Barbara's Lake, one of the only naturally occurring lakes here in Orange County, part of Laguna lakes. There's this one and there's lake number one. I'll talk a little bit about the history of those lakes on my website, Hiking Guy, where they'll find a corresponding guide. I'll tell you who Barbara is, and I'll tell you about the hippo who lived in lake number one. All good stories, so check out the guide. I'll have parking information there as well. But if you want to do the hike, it's about a mile to Barbara's Lake, so an out and back about 2 miles, but I'll show you a full loop, which is just a little under 3 miles. We'll come to the lake, check it out, take it all in, and then do a loop up a small hill where we get some nice views of the beautiful scenery around Laguna Coast Wilderness Park here in Southern California. Now, as always, thank you to all my supporters who make these guides possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you want to say thank you for the video, you can just click the little thumbs up button. It's an easy way to do that. All right, let's hit the trail.
All right, so we're going to start from the Dilly parking area. It's right by the 73. And you're just going to go to the end of the parking lot here. And you'll see there's a little shaded shelter there. On the weekends, there's sometimes volunteers there, so talk to them and see what's happening. Maybe they spotted some wildlife. They always have good tips. Here's an example of the trail sign. And we're going to take the lake trail up to the lake, which kind of makes sense. And it's just the first left once we go past that little kiosk there. And you can see the trail is pretty flat. This is a pretty easy walk up to the lake. We're going to pass the Mariposa Trail, which is up there. And if you do the loop, we're going to come back on that loop. That's where we'll end. But otherwise, we're going to keep going straight. And after a minute or so at the beginning, you're going to see another trail joining in from the left. This is just coming up from the parking area. We're going to continue going straight and up the lake trail towards Barbara's Lake. And you can see it's beautiful. There's some trees. Generally, it's a pretty exposed hike, but there are some little patches of shade along the way, this being one of them. Otherwise, not much, but you can see it's a beautiful, beautiful hike. Now we get to the gravel trail. We're going to just do this little dog leg to the left. We're going to make a quick left and then a quick right. And once we do that, we're going to be actually at the lake. And at this point, you've hiked almost a mile or so. There you can see another trail sign. You'll be able to peek at the lake through the trees here. But there are also two other viewpoints just a minute or two up from here. So keep on going. Hopefully there's some water in there. And again, in the summertime, it can go down, it can get low. But right now in the spring, it's pretty nice. There's some ducks in there. Really beautiful spot. And then there's another interpretive display about 2 or 3 minutes up from here. And if you want to go back, you just turn back from here. But otherwise, let's continue on the loop. And we're going to just keep going straight for the loop. There you can see a nice big fan palm. That's a native palm tree to Southern California. And from here, the trail sort of twists up to the right, and we're going to start a little climb. Now, the climb is maybe 200 feet, 250 feet. And it's pretty easy. It's not like a big mountain or anything. But it is a little bit of an uphill, especially if you're not used to it. But we're going to keep going up here. We're going to have the houses over on our left, and we're going to see the power lines up there. We're going to leave the power lines when we get to the top. So this is just probably the least pleasant part of the hike, even though it's okay. At this point, we're going to go through a little junction where there is a little utility trail. We're just going to go straight through. It can get a little bit confusing. That goes down into the development there. We're going to keep going straight up. And eventually the trail is going to turn back down towards the parking area. And we're going to follow this ridge, or a ridge, all the way back down to the start. And if you look off to the right, we're going to get some great views into Laguna Coast Wilderness Park, Route 73. If you want to do a little bit of a longer hike, I do have another hike on the other side where you're looking right there that's worth doing. A little bit tougher than this. Now we're going to come down to the gravel trail. We're going to kind of make the left here. And after the left, we're going to make the first quick right over to the reservoir. Here you can see, here's the right. And it kind of doesn't look like it, but you can see we're going to go up there. You can see there's a fence. This is actually an underground reservoir, big tank underneath there. You can see the trail going up. And I like taking this route back. There's a few ways you can go back, but I like this one because we're going to get some great views down here into the park. We're going to be heading down on that ridge right in front of us, all the way back down to the parking area. But you can see it's a beautiful, beautiful vista point here. And if you come over this way a little bit, you're going to be able to see down to Barbara's Lake up from the top. There you can see it in the distance. This will be your last chance to peek at the lake before we head back. But we're going to go back down here to this little trail off to the side. This is the Mariposa Trail. We're going to be taking the Mariposa Trail all the way back down to the Lake Trail. And if you remember in the beginning of the video, I showed you where the turnoff is. You can see the springtime is a great time. You can see the prickly pear, the coastal prickly pear cactus are in bloom. If you come here late summer, this is all kind of brown, but in the winter and the spring, this is vibrant green, beautiful, beautiful flowers in bloom. So come in the spring if you can. There's usually water in the lake at that point as well. Now here we are descending on the Mariposa Trail. You can see it's a little bit smaller than the other trails, but definitely easy to follow as you go up along this ridge or down along the ridge, but really beautiful. I'm going to pass this big tree right here. And once we come around the tree, there's a trail turnoff for the Sunflower Trail. You can see there's these little signs for interpretive displays, but here we are around the tree. Sunflowers off to the right. If for some reason you wanted to just get down to the bottom, you could do it that way. But here you can see the sign, Mariposa, that's us. We're going to continue on down the Mariposa Trail back towards the parking area. And here you can see there's a little bit of an up and down, but it's nothing tough. This is a really short hike. This is just under 3 miles for the loop. Nothing here is too tough. But as you continue to go down, you're going to see the parking area right down there in the distance. That's where the cars are. And you see it's a little bit steep here. If you have a trekking pole, it might help, but I'd usually do this without it. It's fine. Just take your time and kind of go down the steep part. But at the bottom of the Mariposa Trail, you can see there's the parking area in the 73. We're just going to make the left and head on back to the start. And that is the loop. And if you stick around for a sec, I'll show you what it looks like on a map. All right, here's the hike. It's just a loop, a little lollipop loop. We're going to do this clockwise around here. And you can see here's the climb. This is all flat up to the lake right there. And here's the climb up. It's not really a big climb, but it does give you these great views because there's nothing really blocking you. Also, one note on the satellite photo, this is during a dry period. You can see it's much browner and sort of dry than the video that I showed you. And this is what it's going to look like if you come here like later in the summer. But anyway, here's the parking area. We're going to go up to the parking area. This is where that little pavilion was. We're going to make that first left and then continue up the lake trail. This is where the turnoff for the Mariposa Trail was that I showed you. And we're just going to head up the lake trail all the way up until we get to this junction with the gravel trail. This was the gravel trail that went up. We did that little dog leg around. And then here is the lake. And this is Barbara's Lake. I'll tell you who Barbara is in the guide on Hiking Guy, so check that out. There's also a spillover lake here, which is Bubbles Lake right over here. And that usually fills up when Barbara's Lake is full. It overflows into there. And then up here is lake number 1, which you can see is pretty dry here. But these are the 3 Laguna lakes. These are the only naturally occurring lakes here in Orange County. They're fed by groundwater. So if you want to turn around from the lake, you just go back from here. Here you can see here the viewpoints, but we're going to go around. If we continue on the loop, and then we're going to come up to this development. Now, interestingly enough, this wasn't always a park. This is relatively recent, and Barbara was one of the people who saved this, but the runoff from this development here used to come right into this lake, filling it with soaps and pesticides and fertilizer. So that is all improved now. Here we go up the hill. This is that weird little utility road going through there. We're going to continue up the hill, and at the top it twists around, and now we're up on this ridge. And when we get down to this intersection with the gravel trail, here's that quick left and the quick right up to that reservoir. And you can see from the top here, it's a big round reservoir. Underneath there is a tank. And then from there, we're continuing down on the Mariposa Trail, down along the ridge, right over here. This is that turnoff for the Sunflower Trail that goes down. We're going to take the Mariposa all the way back down to the start, and there we are. Now, if you want to do some other hikes in Orange County, just go to my website, HikingGuy.com. I have a ton of them, and hopefully there's something there for you. All right, guys, I'll see you later.